All right, how's it going, Twitch? Or I guess everybody from the SNBP podcast that listens in. Today we have a few fun topics for you guys, but quickly before we get into anything, I just want to quickly mention that this stream is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. As you saw on one of my previous streams, they did sponsor that one as well that I did on Thursday. So just to quickly give you, I guess, a rundown of what they're all about. It's basically an online mobile game that also you can run on PC. It's basically a game in which it's a dungeon crawler / like battle arena. So you get your champions, you level them up, you give them items which are called artifacts, and then you play against other teams. And if you win, you win. So and you get fun prizes. You can level up your champions, and you get more champions. They have hundreds, and I mean hundreds of champions to choose from. So you will never get bored of your champions because there's always another one out there that you can try. I've personally played past level 15 myself as part of the sponsorship, and I barely saw half the champions in the game, let alone a quarter. So there are tons of champions to choose from, and if you use our link in the chat that I just posted, you will get a discount, and you'll not a discount, but you'll get extra loot. And if you use promo code CJAN, so SEJAN 22, all caps, you will get more perks as well. So I personally use both our advantages, and it was a significant advantage over the competition. I had level 3 or 3-star champions right off the bat, when you normally start with a one level 2 star, but you also get a bunch of just common guys, whereas I had like a full squad of 3-star champions ready to go off the bat. So there you go. That's the Raid Shadow Legends plug that I had to do before we started. So if you do download the game with the link I provided in chat and level up to level 15, it will support the channel, and all proceeds will go towards bettering the channel. So without any further ado, let's get into today's topics. I'll start us off quickly with, I guess, our intro and how we're all doing. So I just did a workout today, feeling pretty good, showered before the stream, so feeling fresh, feeling good, a little nervous almost. I don't know why, I'm a little jittery. I'm excited. But how are you guys doing, man? What?
What are you nervous about?
I don't know if I'm nervous.
Or like,
I'm more just like
8 or something, or, I think we're all
You're
good
excited,
now.
eh?
Just excited, yeah.
I'm just
We're
excited.
all excited.
Yeah. No, I'm doing good though, man. I just watched the Canucks game just before. It actually worked out perfectly today. Like I was pretty busy the rest of the day, and happened to be on in the morning. They beat Washington. Pettersson had 2 goals, so I'm super happy. That's how my day's been so far. How about you, Punch?
Yeah. I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning, and I had a workout by 6. So it's almost 12 for me, so it's on the early side. I haven't done a whole lot yet.
Oh yeah,
makes sense.
well, you went to the gym.
Yeah.
That's something to be proud of right off the bat.
Yeah,
Starting
that's
strong.
more than a lot of us can do.
Well, thank you, Cole X Caulfield, for the follow. And just for all of you who are new here listening in, this is an interactive podcast. So as we're talking, if you have any questions you want to ask, feel free to ask them and let us know. Yeah, let us know what topics you want us to cover. So we've already got a question right off the bat. Vinzuko, thank you for the follow as well. Quick question for the pod. Why are the Canucks such a garbage franchise? That is clearly a troll directed at Birdman, I think.
Yeah,
So Birdman, you handle it right off the bat.
When I said in my Discord to ask me any questions related to the Canucks, I didn't mean that. I actually already got one person say, "Why will the Canucks ever win the Stanley Cup?" And then now Vinny is coming in and said that. But you know what, Vinny? I can tell you what they can win. They won today, so you know what? They won, and I'm happy with that. And I'm just gonna pretend like it's a cup for me. And you know what? Like Washington won the cup a couple of years ago, and now the Canucks beat them, so now they're a Stanley Cup champion. All right, deal? Great.
Awesome.
Moving on.
Good way to address it. And honestly, as a fellow Canadian, although I am a Habs fan, I have to admit the Canucks are exciting. At least it's something to look at as a Canadian. So obviously, as a Canadian hockey fan, I can look at the Toronto Maple Leafs right now for a bit of excitement because they're doing pretty well. The Vancouver Canucks have had a crazy streak, so hopefully they can carry that into the playoffs. The Oilers are just, I don't even know how to explain it. We definitely got to cover them at some point today. The Calgary Flames are kind of just there, and I'm perfectly fine with that, especially as a Darryl Sutter team. They're more built towards the playoff and built towards playoff success. Ottawa Senators are basically like the Canadians, but they're a bit further along in their rebuild. whereas the Canadiens are about to start one. So a lot of stuff going on in Canada. And obviously Winnipeg, don't worry, I didn't forget about you, the Jets. They're still a good team, and they've been basically having the same core for years. The only difference is the defense has been a rotating door of players throughout the past couple of years for the Winnipeg Jets, but their forward core has remained pretty steady. So a lot to look forward to as a Canadian hockey fan. And Birdman, honestly, I think the Canucks are getting a lot of hate, but I think Boudreau's got them going in the right direction.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good with them. Honestly, like initially people were saying like it's just the coach bump. Once you get a new coach, this kind of happens. But the way he has them playing is just it's so much more catered to how like the skill set is for this team. When we had Green, I don't know why this was our game plan, but we had like if you look at the heat charts of where our shots would be, our main game plan was like shoot from the point, get a tip from in front of the net. I feel like he just had no confidence in the team when we have clear shooters on the team. And yeah, Boudreau sees that, and he sees that we have some good goal scorers, and he's just telling everyone to shoot. Like the one thing we're hearing from every interview or every by every player and himself is just that he wants them to shoot, and he like yells it out, and it's working out well for them. So they've won 10 of their last 13, I think, and yeah, man, they're marching up the standings.
Yeah, that's impressive. Honestly, it's almost a polar opposite of the Edmonton Oilers, and I think we'll start with them because Vinzuko has a good question here. Does it make you? Well, good question, more of another troll one, but I mean, we're gonna address it because it's a good leeway into the Oilers. Does it make you sick to your stomach that McDavid was forced to be an Edmonton Oiler by Gary Bettman? And I will say, yes, it does make me sick to my stomach that McDavid is an Oiler because, quite frankly, it's a waste of his talents. I will get more into that later, but I'll let Ponchy start us off because I've done a lot of talking already. So Ponchy, you start us off right here.
I think it's funny because Edmonton's awful. This is like it's not a podcast if I don't like bag on the Oilers, but like Taylor Hall, Nugent Hopkins, and Yakupov, that was your haul after the whole like tank debacle. And cool, you were like the top of the Pacific like in November, but like come on now. You want McDavid to stay in Edmonton, and he's on contract for another like 4 or 5 years, so but like, he's got the leeway here to move if you don't improve here.
Yeah, he's a UFA at the end of his deal.
Yeah. I would like to see him move somewhere. I want to root for him and just not be on the Oilers because I can't stand it. I knew when that was coming up too, like just when I knew Matthews was gonna end up on Toronto, I just had a feeling, you know what, it was like that time when the Oilers just kept winning the draft lottery over and over, and we just knew they're gonna end up with McDavid. Like even though Buffalo fully tanked that year, they traded like 4 goalies and tried to tank so hard, and I just knew Edmonton was gonna still end up with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was almost like destiny that they got him. They had so many first overall picks. You just kind of knew they were getting another one at the rate they were going. Like they had Hall, like Nugent Hopkins, Hall, McDavid. Who else? Yakupov, right? That's 4 first overall picks in a very short span. Like that's ridiculous. Just to show you how bad they were, and yet they still haven't addressed any of their defense. I mean, yeah, Darnell Nurse is great. I like Darnell Nurse as a defenseman, but who else you got? You got Tyson Barrie, he's a good power play specialist, but I don't want him as my top right-handed defenseman. And outside of those two guys, you got no one. You moved on from Caleb Jones because you didn't think he was good, and now he's playing pretty well in Chicago. I like his game. You moved to acquire Duncan Keith for that player. Duncan Keith, I'm sorry.
Duncan Keith was the answer.
He's a waste of your cap space playing third pairing minutes. Like that's pretty bad in my opinion as well. That's a bad move. And he doesn't seem to be the greatest locker room addition ever either. He doesn't seem to be a leader in the locker room for them. I don't know why. I know he was always seen as a leader in Chicago, but he doesn't seem like he's a leader in Edmonton right now. So there's that. They move away from Ethan Bear. Good point, Vinzuko. I appreciate you adding that as well. They move on from Ethan Bear right after all this, racism's coming out in Edmonton. Some fans were being racist towards Ethan Bear. And like, oh yeah, we stand by him. And then like a few weeks later, they trade him away. Like, what does that do for your locker room as well? You're like, oh yeah, we're gonna stand by this player. Then they just trade away the problem. Look, what they saw as a problem. Obviously, Ethan Bear is not the problem here. That's not what I'm saying at all. But the Edmonton Oilers just trade him away. So clearly, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what Ken Holland's trying to do here. But honestly, I don't like his tenure in Edmonton already. He acquired a Athanasiou who never even got to play in the bubble and then lost him for nothing. So there's just so many things going on in Edmonton that I'm just so disappointed with. Like, that's definitely a franchise I want to do in a franchise mode soon, because for my own sanity, I need them to be built better than they are. Because when you got two players like Draisaitl and McDavid who can put up insane numbers, how do you not compliment them with a good defensive core? Or a goalie who can save a puck, who doesn't get injured every 2 seconds like Mike Smith. Because Mike Smith is a good goalie. He's just injured all the time because he plays too much. And he plays too much because Kosman's the backup. So, anyway, there's so much I could get into about that. But it's just sad seeing McDavid and Draisaitl wasted the way they are. Because, I mean, if they were on another team, I think they would have won a cup by now. Easily.
Mm-hmm.
Falamo's talking about how you're plugged. He's like, look at this guy plugging his own YouTube channel.
Hey.
Yeah, on his own Twitch.
Hey, you gotta plug yourself, man, or else no one's gonna check
you gotta plug
out.
yourself, yeah. McDavid for Halak, Myers, and a third, my final offer.
Yes.
I think,
Jesus.
yeah, I think Colin might do it, honestly. you think someone's gonna get fired now, man? Like, did you see the game last night?
Oh, yeah, the Ottawa game. Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about, too.
Yeah, man. Gaudette really came in. Goal and assist, first game back. I think it was the game-winning goal. Or maybe it wasn't, I don't know. But I was fully expecting them to come back from their postponement games and all that and just beat Ottawa, right? I mean, it's a good ease back into the playing games again. Nope, guess not.
I mean, Ottawa is the type of team that they're not good to play against. Because, like, for the Edmonton Oilers. Because the Edmonton Oilers, when they play against a team like Ottawa, they're just going to they're going to get tired out. And then Ottawa's just going to outwork them and make McDavid not want to play. You know what I mean? They just tire them out because Ottawa's just going to work harder than them. Ottawa just works harder than Edmonton, and that's why they won. It's that simple. They worked harder than them. They wanted to win more. That's all it was. And goaltending too. Stuart Skinner couldn't do much yesterday either. Matt Murray's looking pretty good now. Hey, he got put on waivers because they said he was garbage, and now he's playing well. I
want to see him do good.
Me too.
Yeah, it's been a while, so let's see what happens here.
Yeah.
Even Gaudette, man, I want to see Gaudette do good. Like, just as a guy who followed him through. I followed him through college because he was like a Canucks guy, like draft pick, and he did really good in college too. Like they won the Hobie Baker. And they won the Beanpot and all that, which is like, yeah. So and then I guess since the NHL hasn't really worked out for him, maybe in Ottawa, never know.
You never know. Honestly, I remember when he was coming up too. Everyone was really, really hyping him up.
Yeah,
I remember when he was first coming in. He was really hyped up by Vancouver fans. I'd never really heard much about him. Obviously, as a Habs fan, I don't follow their prospects super closely because I follow Habs prospects super closely. But I remember he was so hyped, just like Louis LeBlanc. It was very similar to that. Like Louis LeBlanc was so hyped. Although at least Adam Gaudette still has a job in the NHL, whereas Louis LeBlanc didn't. So, but I mean, Louis LeBlanc,
or Jimmy VC,
or Jimmy VC too. Like those are the types of players where they get so hyped, and then they come into the NHL and they're like decent players that can definitely play a third line role, but they're not game changing, game breaking players. So, yeah, and then hockey's throwing in Brent Gretzky better than Adam Gaudette. Heard it here first.
Yeah. Well, isn't Brent Gretzky part of the highest scoring brother duo in the NHL? In the NHL.
Technically, yes.
But no.
Put respect on Brent Gretzky's name.
I mean, what was his percentage of contribution to that? I want to know. Was it less than 1?
Wasn't it? It was just 2 points, I think.
So he had like
actually
0.0000001%. Damn.
What do you?
I'm pretty sure it was like 1 goal, 1 assist, or maybe just 2 assists.
That's more points than I've ever had in my career, so I can't say anything.
No, wait,
Great
he has 4
trash.
points.
4 points. Okay.
There you go. Out of what, like 2,000 and something that Gretzky has?
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
Gretzky?
Thrashers.
Damn.
Did you Vinny's talking about the Danbury Thrashers. Did you ever watch that documentary about it? It was on Netflix. Have you heard of them?
The Danbury,
Danbury
Thrashers?
Yeah.
Trashers.
No,
Thrashers,
never heard
yeah.
of it.
Okay, you got. I won't even say anything about it, but it's like 50 minutes or something. You got to watch it, man. It's a hockey thing, and it's
Mhm.
got some mafia stuff involved in it too. It was really good. It was really good. Just check it out.
Oh.
Maybe talk about it next podcast.
Yeah. Honestly, maybe I'll
Yeah.
watch it. That way I'm informed. But
Yeah.
I'm down to watch that for sure.
It just got more wild every couple minutes, honestly.
Mhm. And then Spiderman from Naruto threw in Galchenyuk. That is all. And all I'm going to say about Galchenyuk is I think if we had a better management system and treated him, a better coach who treated him properly, I think Galchenyuk would have been a great player. I think he would have been a point per game player easily if we treated him properly. The man comes in, he puts up a 30-something goal season, 60, 70 points or whatever. And then he comes back the next season, he's a point per game. He has 25. I remember this because I was irate. I was so bad. He had 25 points in, I think, 24 or 25 games. So that's a point per game over a good span to start a season. Then he gets injured. I think he pulled his groin or broke, like he did something with his leg. He got injured. He was out for a few weeks, and he came back, and Michel Therrien threw him on the 4th line and left him there for the rest of the season. And then Galchenyuk, ever since then, never really recovered. He never really came back, as Therrien would bury him on the 4th line every game. And it was the most aggravating thing I've ever seen. I think Montreal's had some of the worst coaches in the last couple of years, and that's why the team hasn't panned out the way maybe some prospects should have. Although I think Claude Julien is a good coach. I don't know, I struggle to get the words out there, but Claude Julien I think is a good coach, or is a great coach even. But other than him, I think their coaching staff has been pretty bad. The current guy's pretty terrible too. So hopefully they turn that around under our new guy, under Gordon.
Yeah. Well, were you a fan of the Domi trade?
Yeah, definitely a fan of the Domi trade, because by then Galchenyuk wasn't gonna do anything here. It was over. Like, he needed. And honestly, I was happy for Galchenyuk to get a change of scenery. Obviously, hasn't really worked out. He's still a free agent right now, I believe. So hasn't really worked out for him. And yeah, his dad was a little rough on him too. So
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, his dad was pretty hands-on. Like, his dad was trying to outcoach the coach, and it was a mess. Like, his dad would put him through crazy training. So anyway, I think Galchenyuk could have been a great player. He had all the talent in the world to do it, and he proved that he could be a point per game player in the NHL. He just never found his game after his injury. So, yeah. Anyway,
Don't read the next comment. It's a spoiler. Don't do it.
Don't read the comment.
Yeah, not the last one.
Oh, I saw it. The 7th. Yeah. I won't say anything, but it's fine. Hey, that'll be cool. It'll be cool to watch. I'm still down to watch that for sure.
Yeah.
The Trashers, man. That's gonna be a good docu-series to watch it. Where can we watch it?
It's on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
It's on Netflix original.
Cool.
Yeah.
How has it not been recommended to me yet? Damn.
I don't know. It came out a couple months ago. And the thing is that it happened while we were all watching hockey. Like, all 3 of us watched hockey at this time, and I had no idea this was happening. I feel like it is a story that for sure is like big enough that we should have heard it.
Yeah. And Fala Ammo got hit with the autocorrect there. Clearly he meant to say Netflix right off the bat. Clearly. All right, let's hop into the next topic here. I'm going to move on to the Habs GM search, because I was talking about them already, and it's something I can just kind of get out of the way quickly here, because it's not too long to address this. Honestly, I saw some tweets and I saw an article. According to Eric Engels, who reports for Sportsnet, and Darren Dreger, who reports for TSN, both reporting on the Habs, they say the Canadiens are down to a final 3 candidates for the GM position. One thing I will say is they didn't say who those 3 people were. I do have a list of, I think, 8 or 9 people that could be the general manager here. But supposedly only 3 of them have been finalized as to who they could be. And supposedly Matthew Darsh, who's one of the candidates, is interviewing for the Ducks GM position next week. So that could be interesting as well. So the candidates include, I don't think this is going to be a person that gets named, but Patrick Roy, Matthew Darsh, Danny Briere, Roberto Luongo, Marc Denis, Emily Émilie Castonguay, Daniel Sauvageau, and Stéphane Cointal. So those are the candidates. So a few French candidates in there. All of them can obviously speak French and have either played for the Canadiens at some point or have played hockey at some point in their lives. I know Émilie Castonguay and Daniel Sauvageau have a good track record as well, and that's interesting to see that there are some women's names in there, which is nice to see. It's a good change of pace for the NHL. I would hate to see Patrick Roy hired. No offense to him, I just don't think he's the right fit for the team. I don't think he's the right fit for a rebuilder, especially. He's too fiery. He's too fiery to be a general manager, in my opinion.
Was he on Colorado's staff?
Yeah, he was a coach. He was a head coach.
Oh, true.
And like I said, he was too fiery. He couldn't even work with Joe Sakic. And from what I understand, Joe Sakic is amazing to work with. So, yeah, I don't think he'd be the right fit here. I think the media really wants him because he has such a good career as a player, but I don't think he'd be the right fit. He's not a good team builder. He's just like, in terms of a management team, like he wouldn't interact well with everybody. So I don't think he'd be the right fit. He'd be a good person to have as an advisor or assistant GM, but I don't think I'd want him calling the shots.
Is there a guy that you do want there?
Matthew Darche.
Matthew Darche, sure.
Yeah,
okay.
he's the guy I want to see. He worked in Tampa Bay. I believe he was the third guy in Tampa Bay. So when it was Yzerman and the other guy who was in Montreal, so when it was him and Yzerman, Darche was the third guy, and then when Yzerman left, obviously the other guy got promoted, and Darche became the AGM, and he's done quite well, from what I understand, for the Syracuse Crunch. So I'd like to see Matthew Darche get hired, and he's played for the Canadiens, and he's French, so it's a win-win-win. And also, Vinzuko says we need Danny Heatley, and I think yes, absolutely, we need Danny Heatley.
I think yes, and also...
Pardon?
You need him to score goals, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, we need the All-Star, man. We need the All-Star.
Mm-hmm. I cannot believe... You guys didn't know that was fake, the Canada roster?
No, I thought you sent us a real thing. I fully trusted you on that one.
I was like, because like Danny was on like the first line. I was like, there's no way you guys think this is real. But like,
I was down. I was down with the throwback squad, man. Honestly.
And then they're like PA Parento on the fourth line.
Bro, PA Parento, underrated winger.
Yeah.
Underrated winger.
I was like, Danny Heatley's on the older side, so I was like, why would they have Danny Heatley on there? Everybody else like sort of made sense.
Supposedly he's only 37.
No, he's not 37. he's for sure 40 at least.
He's definitely in his 40s. There's no doubt.
Yeah, but then you also have Patrick Marleau. So if you have Patrick Marleau, he's 40. He's only 40.
Okay.
Oh, he's a young 40.
Does he still play anywhere?
Oh, probably not. I'd hope not for his sake.
But anyways, so you have Marleau there, and I know Marleau is like a year off from the league. So he is. He plays for the Nuremberg Ice Tigers.
Heatley?
Yeah, he does.
What even is that?
Oh no, that was in 2015-16.
Okay. In the DEL. That's the German league, right?
That's the German league.
Yeah.
So wait, he is still playing then. That's awesome.
No, he isn't.
He was.
15-16. He was. The 15-16 was his last season. Put up 32 points though, so
Oh, Dutch. You know, every time I think about that league, Falamo, I just think of Dale Weiss. He was a superstar there, and they call him the Flying Dutchman.
For the Canadiens?
No, for there's like this team in the Dutch league or the DEL.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know Dale Weiss. He was on the Canadiens.
Oh,
right?
I love Dale Weiss. I love Dale Weiss, man.
Yeah, they're
he's a legend
Dutchman over there. Yeah.
Bro, Dale Weiss was that guy who in the playoffs was a stud. Like I remember there's a series against Ottawa. He just skates in, past the blue line, walks in, takes a slap shot, snipes on the goalie. Like it was nothing. He put up like 2-goal games all the time in the playoffs. It was crazy. I loved Dale Weiss and Nicolas Delorier. I saw a comment there, someone saying Delorier. We already had him on our team at some point. So Spider-Man from Naruto, we've already had him on our team. We've been there, done that. I don't think he'd be a good fit anymore. He's a little bit old, on the older side. But I loved Nicolas Delorier when he was here because he'd put up better numbers than he's expected to. So I always liked Nicolas Delorier. He had a secret little scoring touch to him. Secret scoring touch.
It's like our Tyler Mott right now.
Yeah.
I'm still looking up the names.
All right, let's move on to Team Canada's roster. We don't have the full roster, obviously, and we don't have anybody from the roster listed. All we do know for now is essentially that Claude Julien is the head coach, I believe, and Shane Doan's the general manager. I think that's accurate.
I think so. I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then there's a few names being rumored and thrown around as to who they'd want on the team. Obviously, Owen Power's been thrown around a lot. He was on Team Canada's World Junior team, and it'd be nice to see him. Honestly, I'd be down with the entire World Junior team just being thrown in there. But Paul Bissonnette, line one, I don't know if he'd make the cut, but I do want to see Caden Gooley make the team as well. He was captain of the World Junior team. He's on the older side of the prospects too, so I think he'd be a good fit, and he's physically ready. He was laying bodies like it was nothing. So I'd like to see Caden Gooley make it, as well as a Habs prospect. So that'd be a bonus spotlight for him and a good learning experience too. So I'd like to see Caden Gooley and Owen Power both make it. In terms of veterans, I'd like to see Eric Stahl on the team. I think he has a lot to offer to these young guys, and I think he's still capable of playing a good game. Like if you put him with two speedy wingers on the side and have him play center, I think it'd be a perfect fit for him. So if you get him with two energetic guys who get him the puck and he can just kind of play his game, I think you're set. I saw him in Montreal in the playoffs. He was a little shaky, but he had his good games every now and then. And then obviously in nets, it's rumored that Devin Dubnyk's going to be the goalie. So he played 2 games this year, had an 888 or something. So him and Eddie Pascali, I'm pretty sure the 2 goalies rumored. So what do you guys think?
Everything you said is fine, but if I'm being honest, I'm not excited for it at all. Like it's just
I would have been more excited for World Juniors.
No, not even that. It's just like I wish it was the NHL players going up against each other, like in some capacity, even if it was a World Cup thing. We've barely seen it in the last decade, right? Like we've maybe seen it twice, I think. We saw it in Sochi, and we saw it in I think 2016, like the World Cup. So like twice in a decade, and think of how much has changed now. Like just the projected lineups going into this season. Every lineup looks so good. It looks so much fun to watch, and I don't know. I mean, I'll obviously still watch it. I think did we win last time when we didn't have NHL players in?
I'm not
Russia
sure.
won.
Russia won.
Russia won because
I remember they had
looked at the old roster. Yeah, they had Datsuk and Kirill on the team.
It was before Kaprizov. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I don't even remember that. Did you see that they're considering Jake Virtanen for Team Canada?
No, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I don't want to see it either, man. That is bad publicity.
That's terrible. If he's on the team,
Leipzig too.
If those 2 guys are on the team, there's no chance I'm watching this tournament. There's no chance. I don't care. I'm not watching it. If that's who they name on the team, I'm not watching. I'm not that desperate to see a good team. I'm not that desperate.
But Dion Phaneuf.
I'd be down. I could watch Dion Phaneuf play some hockey. Same with Danny Heatley. I could watch Danny Heatley. Maybe throw Joe Sakic in there, get some squads going.
Pylon.
Hey, don't hate on Danny Heatley or Dion Phaneuf. They're legends.
That's Mr. 50 and 07.
Exactly. Danny Heatley, the All-Star, man.
We actually, for Secret Santa this year, one of the guys got a pylon.
No chance.
It was in like this bag. Like he got an actual gift, right? And it was a bag that he wanted, and inside was this really small pylon. And there's a picture of it on top of his head. There's like a picture of it. It's so funny, man.
That's good, man. That's good. Oh man. All right. Well, let's move on. Dion Phaneuf was the worst captain ever in Leafs history, and quite honestly, I could almost agree with you. He hated being captain of the Maple Leafs. So.
Okay.
Did he? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
He was the captain of the worst team in the league.
But he hated being the captain there. He hated it. He didn't want to be captain. Yeah. He hated the media attention. He hated it.
Yeah. But then also, like, Toronto media is ruthless.
Yeah, but exactly. That's why he's one of the worst captains in their history. Not because of who he is, just because he doesn't like the media. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he was a bad captain. I'm just saying he wasn't a good fit for Toronto. That's all.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the
I don't know
guy.
about that.
I have nothing against Dion
He
Phaneuf.
was never a captain after that, though, right? Like after
No.
Toronto, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Where did he go after Toronto? It was Ottawa, right?
Ottawa, and then LA.
I thought LA was
Right.
before.
Calgary. It was Calgary, Toronto, Ottawa, LA.
Really? He ended in LA. I thought he could have been a captain in Ottawa. I could be mistaken. I thought he might have been though. But anyway, let's go to the All-Star game now, guys. Anything you want to talk about the All-Star game? Any players you see there that aren't really meant to be there?
Yeah, I was like, I think McKinnon was talking about it. How he briefly kind of brushed over, saying that it shouldn't be like one player per team. Just literally the best player should go. And I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at the last man in thing, I think it's called, and you're supposed to vote for one of them. And I was looking at the candidates, and they had Tage Thompson as one of them. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
He's had a good year.
why? Yeah, but like, oh man, there were so many of them though. There were so many of them that were just like, I don't. When I think of All Star, I'm not thinking of Tage Thompson. I know he's good. He's put like 10 goals or something this year. But that is not what I was thinking of. I do watch the All-Star games every year, though, because I do like actually seeing them just interact with each other and stuff, and I find that super fun. But who got left off the list? Oh, I think for me, it was with Anaheim. I saw that Gibson was in, and I guess that's part of the problem of just one player.
Like Zegers is out, right?
Yeah, Zegers and Terry are both out. And like Zegers isn't even the last man in. It's like Terry is the last man in.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because Terry's had a great year.
Yeah. But like, wouldn't you want to see like Zeke? Well, we've seen what Zegers has done this year, and like just think about the shootout thing or like whatever. And I'm sure it'd be pretty cool to see him in that, or be creative. There'd be a bunch of creative things going on there.
I agree 100%. Yeah. Like the NHL's creativity is non-existent. Like the NHL doesn't believe in creativity, man. They really don't. Like there's so much they could do to grow the game because hockey. Honestly, I find hockey is one of the most entertaining sports to watch simply because it's so fast paced. You rarely get a long break, right? You obviously have your commercial breaks. That's normal in any game you watch. But like, I find it hard for me to watch football or even soccer. Like for me, soccer it's tough to watch because or European football. It's hard to watch sometimes because
okay. Just call it soccer.
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to be polite. But it's hard for me to watch sometimes unless it's like a very important game because oftentimes just the defense pass back and forth, shoot down the other way. They do the same thing, shoot back the other way, and then eventually someone breaks through and gets a rush. But for the most part, you're just shooting the ball back and forth. And then in football, it's like you play, I think, a total of like 13 actual minutes for a 5-hour event. So for me, it's tough to watch that. Whereas hockey, they play the full 60. They're not stopped for any of the 60 minutes. So everyone plays. Like you'll see every single player on the roster play. Whereas a lot of other sports, the fourth string guy's never going to touch the field unless you're winning by a blowout, right? So that's what I like about hockey, and I think they could really run with that, but they just don't care. They just don't care. They get their ad revenue, they get their sponsorship deals, and they get their TV deals, and they're done. But they don't care. So it'd be nice to see some more creativity in the NHL, that's for sure.
Yeah. And Vinny was talking about Nylander. I didn't even notice that Nylander wasn't on the list. But that being said, though, there's so many teams that probably have 3 guys that could be in the All-Star game, right? Yeah. And the fact that you can have 2 maximum, and probably just most teams are just gonna have 1, right? It just sucks. Like just look at Colorado. You have McKinnon, you have Makar, and you have Rantanen. You can say that, or even if you wanted to say Landeskog, you could say that. That's 3-4 guys there. Toronto, you can talk about Nylander, Matthews, Tavares, and Campbell's having a really good year. He could also be there as well. Yeah, there's a bunch of teams like that. The thing is like you are right though. I don't see them being creative with that or changing anything like that because it's the money stuff, right? They want each place, each team or city to have somebody there, so there's people watching or buying that person's jersey or whatever it is, because that's how you make the money, right?
Yeah, and at that point though, why don't you have 2 All-Star games? Like, why don't you have
Vinny? He's there as a last man in though. He's not.
Yeah, he's not there as a first ballot. So
yeah.
at this point, though, why don't you expand the All-Star game? Why do you have to keep it the same? If you have 30, we have 32 teams now, and we might even get a 33rd at some point. Is it 32? Yeah, it's 32.
It's
so
32, yeah.
Why are you still keeping it the same as it was when you had like 17 teams in the league? Why is it the same All-Star game? It doesn't work anymore. You got to have. I think you should have like rookies, like a rookie All-Star game, the regular All-Star game, and that's it, or maybe one other thing. You know what I mean? Like that way you can showcase more of your players, more of your talent. Why are you limiting yourself to one player per team? There's so many marketable players in the league right now. Why don't you have one part be a fan vote and then another part be your leading scorer? Something that simple, or your best player.
Like, it doesn't make sense that Vegas only has 2 people in because they're the hosts. The host should always have at least 3 people in.
I don't know. Right. Like, who would I want though? Like, who's in? Petrangelo?
They're all injured though. Like this year.
Like it's Petrangelo and Stone. Yeah. Is that who's in?
Yeah, but I just think that's even. You could always throw in Leonard, but I think it's still silly that you don't even like. Your hosts don't have 3 players. Tampa did it. Tampa had 3 players on. San Jose had 3 players on. Yeah. Did St. Louis had 3 players? Had 3. Your home crowd should always have priority.
I think if Pacioretty was healthy, they would have done 3.
Throw in Leonard. I don't like him, but I'll throw him in.
No, I don't see Leonard making that. There's no chance. He's just a big guy.
Yeah, you hate Leonard.
I like Leonard. I like Leonard as a person, and I like Leonard as a goalie. I just don't think he's a great starter. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I like Leonard. I like Leonard's personality. I like him as a player. I like what he brings to the table. I just don't like him as my elite starting goalie. If I need a starting goalie to fill in the gap for a few seasons, I'll go with him, hands down. Yeah. Because I like what he brings to the locker room. But if I could have him as a backup or a 1A, 1B situation, that's the guy I'm going with. Absolutely. I love Robin Leonard. I just don't like him as an elite starter. I don't want him playing all the games. I don't want him playing 65 games a year. So I don't see him as an all-star. That's all I'm saying.
But then also this is like, but in that same respect, it's also an all-star game. It's not it's like there so everybody can like have fun and interact. So like, we don't want to get too nitpicky over who should be in. I was just saying that it's silly that, that every team has sent somebody, but Vegas should always have, or the host should always have priority.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And honestly, part of the reason why he's not in is most likely the NHL doesn't want him there. Like, I don't think Gary Bettman wants him there because his antics. His media antics, they don't want him there.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it's definitely a factor.
Who do you guys got from Montreal going in?
Suzuki? Yeah. Actually, this is a topic I had listed on my my notepad here. A lot of fans are upset about Suzuki making the All-Star game.
Who would they want to
send? I wanted Hoffman.
Yeah, like, who the hell are you going to throw in there? And that's what I'm thinking. Like, who from Montreal is going to make it? The only thing I'd see is arguing no one from Montreal. This is the worst team I've ever seen. But I think Suzuki is better than a lot of players in the league. I think he deserves to be considered an all-star. So I don't know what people are saying. Like, the guy's played with AHLers all season. What do you want him to freaking do? The fact that he has any points this year is impressive. I watch him play. The only time he ever scores is when he does the whole thing himself. Because no one on the team knows how to play hockey at this point. No offense to all these rookies. Like, they don't know the game yet. They don't know the NHL yet, and he does. So it's hard to play with a bunch of guys who aren't familiar with the league yet. I think there was a few nights, quite a few games, where the Canadiens had 20 players in COVID protocol. So there's no one left to play with, and he's one of the few guys who's avoided a lot of it. So, I'd definitely give him an all-star. I don't know why people are hating on him so much. It is what it is.
I think he's like, how many points does he have this year? Or let me see.
It's not good.
Because he plays defense. That's why we hate him.
He's got 7 goals.
No, but like the thing is like he's still like super young, man. Like he's 20, 21, 22. He had a good year last year. It's just a recency bias thing. It just happens so much around the league. Like 19 and 36 isn't even terrible. Like it's not. I know you want to see him build on last year, but you got to look at the scenario he's in and the environment he's in.
So one of the worst coaching.
He's still learning. Yeah, he's still learning, developing. He's super young.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the worst coaching staffs, at least in terms of strategy wise, I've ever seen. Like at least when other teams get injured, they come prepared and ready to go, and everyone knows what's happening. But no one knows what's going on. Like Jeff Petrie, thank you, Spiderman, for bringing that up. Jeff Petrie, one of the veterans on this team, comes out one of his first games back in the lineup. He's like, "Yeah, we have no idea what we're doing out here. There's no structure." That's an issue, man. Anyway, I hope our coach gets fired. No offense to Ducharme. I hope he has a great career, but it ain't your time. It ain't your time.
But then, like, should Suzuki? Like, I know we want to see Habs in the All-Star game, but you've then blocked a spot from
Nylander
division. Like Nylander, you've blocked a spot. Marchand's not in the All-Star game, and
Seriously?
he's been on a tear.
How?
Well, I guess that's what you were saying as well. Like, it was either Suzuki or no Habs, right? So if we were gonna go from that route, I'm sure we can make it. Yeah. Like, if we're gonna go the route of teams not having a player, I'm sure there's like I didn't even realize Marchand wasn't even in it.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Should Marchand be fighting? Marchand shouldn't be fighting for an All-Star spot here.
He should be in. He's a league star.
Pasternak's not in either.
No,
who's not in?
Pasternak. So is it Bergeron or McAvoy?
I think it's Bergeron.
Oh, I did see that. It is Bergeron.
Wow, dude, I like Bergeron, but like, come on, Pasternak guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's got Bergeron's a great player. He's really smart and good defensively, but Pasternak's got all the skill, right?
Yeah, but he's an NHL. He's a cover athlete, so he's better than Crosby. So,
dude, I'm sorry. I
still gonna face off.
This league is terrible at marketing its stars. It's the worst thing.
Oh, it really is.
Like you gotta honestly, one of the bigger things you gotta fix too is the reffing, because it doesn't promote their stars. It promotes the players who don't play the game properly. Like the way the league's reffed, it promotes your goons. It promotes holding. It promotes cross checking. It promotes all this stuff, because as the team that does the aggression, if you do it one time, you don't have to worry about it for the next couple of minutes because you're not going to get a penalty for it. And that's a problem. You should be called no matter what. If I got a penalty 2 minutes ago, I shouldn't automatically know that the other team's going to get the next penalty. That shouldn't be a thing, but it is, because that's how the game's reffed. It's bad. It's stupid. It shouldn't be like that. There are so many things wrong with this league. I wish I could just kind of go in and be like, here, Bettman, let me just tweak that a little bit. Let me just tweak that a little bit. And then, boom, we're off to the races. You'd see it insane growth. I guarantee you, if they just changed the people, they're like, I don't know who Gary Bettman's advisors are, but if you just change some of those voices, I think you'd see crazy growth for the game. Although I do have to give Bettman a lot of credit for the way he's expanded the league. That is something he's been really good at. That I'll give him credit for.
I also think, like, if you go in the direction of basketball and you give people like these dumb touch fouls, then like, I know we'll be on the power play, like more teams will be on the power play more, but like, do we want to see that? Do we want to see times where either we have to call all the penalties or none of them? That's a problem here. And I get, like, don't call like the touch fouls, but like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
but then I also don't want them to push into the direction of basketball where, like, James Harden put up like 20 free throws a night because he got so many fouls.
Yeah, but he found a loophole in the rules and broke the system. That's different than a blatant cross-check or a hold, right?
Yeah. But then you're going to see players like try and draw those fouls then.
Yeah, but the good players should be able to draw the foul. Like, I don't want to see McDavid get tackled in the playoffs again. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Like, yeah, it's hilarious to think because I'm not an Oilers fan. But if I'm an Oilers fan watching that, I'm like, what's the freaking point in watching this? If McDavid's going to get tackled by 2 Winnipeg Jets players and not draw a penalty, the frick's the point? They just want the Jets to win at that point. That's all. Anyway, it's ridiculous. I hope they change some ways they do things in the NHL, but I mean, change is slow around here, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's. I think we're done with the All-Star Game. Are you guys done with the All-Star Game?
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to one of our last topics here. Chat, if you want to start throwing in some questions, feel free to do so, because this is an interactive podcast. So if you have any questions you want to ask us, now's your chance. So while waiting for you guys to pose all your questions, we're going to move on to one of our last topics here. It's a very brief one. Vejmelka. Do we think he's good? Yes or no? I know I was throwing some hate on him pretty early on in his season. What do you guys think of Vejmelka? I'll give you guys a quick rundown. His season average save percentage right now is a .906 on a terrible Arizona Coyotes team. In his last 5, most of his starts have been an 889 or 890, but in those 2 out of the 5 games, he had a 978 and a 958. Is Vejmelka a good goalie?
So I was going to say, the first time you brought him up about one of the earlier podcasts, I was going to say that it's looking like he has promise because he had a couple 40 save performances in a row, and he was getting some wins and all that. And then you made the point of saying that with newer goalies, sometimes teams don't know how to figure them out. They don't know their weaknesses or whatever. There's not a lot of game tape on them, whatever it is. And once they figure that out, it's not as smooth sailing for the goalie anymore. But he's been, I think he's been okay. He like as okay as you can be in Arizona. What did you say his save percentage is?
He's a 906.
I mean,
league average is around a 910, 912.
Yeah, it's below league average. But then again, you gotta take into account it's Arizona we're talking about, and their defense is not helping them out too much.
Terrible.
It's like hard to say, man. I don't know. I'm not the best on saying a goalie is either a lead or not a lead, because there's so much that goes into it in terms of who is actually playing on the team, who is like how the team plays, like the systems they play, and how they play around the goalie, right? Like sometimes you have teams that well, just for an example, back when the Canucks played Vegas, for an example, right, and in the playoffs, our game plan was just to clog the whole middle and just let them keep shooting from the outside, right? And Demko played really good, but like if you look at the heat chart, there's so many shots just from the outside, and he was getting 40 saves a game, right? And it obviously looks amazing, but it wasn't it wasn't super difficult just to stay on the perimeter, just kind of just hold your ground that way. So yeah, I was just trying to say that there's so many different ways to like look at it. So I personally haven't watched him too much to really say anything, but it looks like he's holding his ground here in Arizona. What will you, Punch? What do you think?
I think sometimes we're expecting a little too much out of our goalies because we want a 933 goalie, and it's nice to have a 933 goalie, but I'd be happy with, well, okay, so like after the Martin Jones debacle, I'd be happy with like a 9. But like some goalies start out really well. Some goalies need more time. Jack Campbell, great example, just in the chat. It took him a while to really cement himself in the league. Mika Kiprusoff struggled in San Jose, and then when he moved to Calgary, he got a whole lot better. So you get these goalies here and there. Some pop off right away. Some need more time. And like for now, at least Vejmelka, he's fine. I don't see anybody like in Arizona up in arms about the goaltending. If anything, goaltending in Arizona is like hasn't been too bad because they had Ranta, Kemper.
Yeah.
So like, and now they also. Sorry.
Well, they have Wedgwood and Vejmelka now, but it's fine.
A little bit of downgrade, but yeah,
they had good goaltending.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't be up in arms about it. You've got bigger problems in Arizona.
Yeah, these are good stopgaps till when you get a good goalie. This is fine. And I mean, you had the opportunity to get a first round pick, I think, for Kemper. Take it and run.
Yeah.
And
that's what Job said too.
Yeah, and if everybody wants Ranta, let him have him. He's injured all the time anyway, right? So anyway, I pulled up some stats for Money Puck for Vejmelka and Scott Wedgwood. So for Vejmelka, he's a solid goalie. I think he's a solid goalie. I think he's a solid 1B, ideal, or backup. So he's fairly consistent. He makes the regular save. So his goals saved above expected, per 60 minutes is negative 0.07. So, like, he's not going to make the exceptional save, if ever, to be expected in his games. Like, based on his 21 games so far, he's not going to make the exceptional save. But his save percentage on unblocked shots is a 947. X save percentage, I don't know what the difference is, 948. Basically the same thing, but a huge increase. So when he sees the puck, he's going to save it. And then his regular save percentage total is 906. So when he's screened, he's not as good. But the Arizona Coyotes can let him see the puck, he's going to save the puck. So that's a pretty good indicator that he could be a very solid backup goalie for me. If you can make the expected saves and give your team a chance to win on any other team, I think he's got a pretty decent save percentage. So, you know what? Vejmelka, I apologize for hating on you early on. I think you're a solid backup, if not a low end starter. So,
you know what? Why don't we just get him on the pod next week and ask him if he's a good goalie or not?
Okay, bro. If I tried to score on Vejmelka, he'd save every shot I threw at him. He'd make me look terrible. I'm not trying to say he's a bad goalie. I'm sure he's one of the best goalies.
I think we should ask him personally. Is what I'm saying.
Oh,
I want to see what his opinion is. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, that could be a good question to ask him.
Yeah. Could you imagine just any reporter like after a game? Do you think you're a good player?
Oh my god, that would not go over well. That would not go over well.
So I just looked this up. John Elkin is their goaltending coach, and I think he's been doing really well. Like Louis Domingue had a 925 in 11 games, and he finished with 912. Mike Smith, a long time ago, but he also went a couple games with a 971 one GAA. So while goaltending is generally a shot in the dark, they've got Arizona's relatively had good goaltending, and I think this goaltending coach, they've got a good coach there.
Yeah.
That was the other point I was going to make as well. I completely forgot. But when I was saying there's so many different aspects into goaltending and seeing how good a goalie is or how bad they are, that's another huge thing as well. Like, people made such a big deal. Do you guys know who Ian Clark is? He's the Canucks goaltending coach. And Vancouver made it such a big deal when his contract was over to make sure he signed, because every goalie that's basically been here, he has helped them and their stats have got better. And he also helped Bobrovsky, right? He worked with Bobrovsky in Columbus. And his numbers were so good, and he went to Florida, and they plummeted. But they're doing better now. But the first 2 years, they're pretty bad. And there's just so many cases where goalie coaches can help a lot and improve their capabilities and all that. Like just Demko was talking about it in the off season. He's like, I want Ian Clark back. Like, that's just another. I don't know. That goaltending's so weird. Like, just to say how good or bad someone is. There's just so many aspects into it.
Yeah, and they can just go off sometimes. Like, look at Andrew Hammond, his crazy run in Ottawa. That was insane. They went all the way to the conference finals, one goal away from the Stanley Cup final, behind the back of a guy who's not in the league. So, it's crazy. Same with Jordan Binnington, honestly, his run as well in St. Louis. So, yeah, goalies can go off. And that's the thing I was talking about last podcast with Vejmelka is when a new goalie comes in the league, no one's figured them out yet. So, they're usually prone to have some pretty crazy runs, especially when they're first coming to the league, and especially if they're on a good team. So we'll wait a little bit longer before we judge Vejmelka too much, but I do think I was a little harsh on him.
It'll be a weekly check-in on Vejmelka.
Yeah, imagine that's our weekly thing. We just check it on Vejmelka on Sundays.
Vejmelka check.
That'd be a little extra, I think. Anyway, we'll move on to the chat questions. Nothing too crazy today. I did see Spidermanfromnaruto mention that Jeff Petrie only has 3 points. Just to address that quickly, he's been injured all year. Don't even read into this season. This is one of the worst seasons I think he's ever had, because he was playing through injury to start, and then they finally told him to sit out because we suck. So don't worry about that. And then the next question, I'll let you guys start off with the answering before I go off on a random tangent that I cannot control or contain. Will Shane Wright be enough to save the Habs?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Go on.
You just need a little bit more. I think when Caulfield starts, I think it'll help make a good core. But when you have like, and your core is good here. You got Gooley, Caulfield, like hopefully Shane Wright,
Suzuki, Romanov.
and then Suzuki, Romanov. So that's a solid core right now, and they're all. I don't think all of them are legally allowed to drink in the U.S. yet. So
Yeah,
they're all
hands on right.
But yeah, essentially though, you've got the good starts to a rebuild, and then from there you also have to decide what happens to Weber. Is he on LTIR? And you open up some cap. Same with Price. If you if there's a time where you go, Price, we love you. You're always going to be Habs royalty, but he goes, I want to be on a contender. I want the chance to chase a ring. Like, you could see stuff like that. That'll impact how you go or going forward. So you can either, like it will help, but I don't think it will like you can spring off into the playoffs right away.
Right.
I think the way you said it is correct. I think it's a good building piece or cornerstone of your core. But I was gonna say if it was Bedard, it would be it would be a huge difference. I would say because the way people are making Bedard look out, there I don't know if he'll be as good as McDavid or anything like that. But that's how people are making him out to be, and I think the jump between how good they would be with Bedard would be like up here, and I think with Wright it would just be around here. But that's not saying anything about their actual future. I'm just saying immediate help.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I don't think Shane Wright is the savior of the Canadiens. I really don't. I think he'd be a really good center for them going forward, and that would be a position they hadn't solved for a long time. Suzuki is part of that solution, but to get a real first, second line duo, I think Suzuki and Wright would be an ideal scenario. And it would be a great start. Even throw Suzuki on the wing if you have to, although Suzuki's game is best suited for center because he's not the fastest guy ever, so he's really good at controlling the play and the tempo with his hockey smarts and his knowledge, and that's what makes him so good. So I think you run Suzuki down the middle on the second line. I think you run Wright on the first line if you win the lottery this year. Although I do think this year would be a better year to lose out on the lottery. Next year, win the lottery, get Bedard. So you have Bedard, Suzuki at center, Ryan Poehling or Evans, and then Poehling or Evans. So that's your 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be ideal going forward. And this year you draft maybe Jiricek, like I think that's his name, Jiricek or Jiricek. We need a good puck-moving right-handed defenseman. That's what we need desperately. We have Petrie for now, but Petrie's 35 or 36 now. I think it's time to move on from him. And as soon as he's healthy, you can get a really good amount of assets for Petrie if you move on from him. Gallagher, same thing. Is kind of tough to move on from right now. He's not healthy. Snipes, thank you for your comment. And Vinzuko, thank you for your comment about the puck-moving defenseman. But yeah, so as Snipes said, I think trading Price and Gallagher would be ideal for the rebuild, but I don't think it's possible. Price is not going to be traded right now unless he comes back sometime around the deadline and puts up like crazy numbers and makes Montreal look better than they are and puts up like a 930. There's no teams that are going to take him. So unless they can retain salary and Price comes back fully healthy, puts up good numbers, you're not going to have many teams that take him at that point. If he does put up good numbers, I think you'd have a few teams biting on him because they want that elite goalie. They want that guy who can just bring them over the edge for playoffs. Like if you look at Colorado, if they had Carey Price as their goalie, I'm not talking about money. I don't care about money right now. I'm just talking about idealistics.
Yeah.
Idealistic world. If Colorado or Toronto could have Carey Price as their goalie, they'd say yes in a heartbeat because they'd have this guy who can, if your team's not scoring, and Toronto and Colorado can both score, but if they're not scoring that one game, Carey Price could just shut down the other team. It's a 1-0 game. It's crazy how good he is, especially in the playoffs when the games are on the line. He's the only reason why Montreal won one game against Tampa, and he's the only reason why Montreal made it to Tampa. So I think if the Canadiens can get these guys healthy, they can move them for something. Carey Price can shut down my pants. Damn, it's getting spicy in here. But no, I think Gallagher's taker would be LA, and I think Price. could go to a contending team if they retain salary, and he proves that he can still do it. So I think the Montreal Canadiens rebuild is well underway. I think if they draft a puck-moving defenseman this year, especially if they miss out on the first overall pick this year, it'd be ideal. And then next year they get Bedard, that'd be amazing. If they can't get Bedard, and then let's say they lose the lottery both years, which is easily possible. If they end up with maybe Matthew Savoy and a puck-moving defenseman next year, or someone else like that, would be ideal too. Matthew Savoy.
Well, there's a
prospect.
a right-handed defenseman in Texas right now that wants to be traded.
Klingberg. Oh, I don't want Klingberg.
Yeah. I heard Carolina's in on him.
I don't want Klingberg. Why are we getting Klingberg?
Yeah.
He's expiring deal. He's not going to want to come here. And he's not going to sign here. We'd have to sign him like $8 million a season. That just increases our issues. So
they can get Bedard, but then what are they gonna do? Are they gonna hold him out if he needs a surgery and then trade him for nothing again? Is that what's gonna happen, Vinny?
Oh, in Buffalo? Yeah, I saw that comment too. Dude, oh man, Eichel's gonna be so good in Vegas. I'm so excited.
He's gonna kill it.
But
do you remember? Sorry, I was gonna make the joke that if Carey Price wanted to go to Colorado, all the Habs need to do is just leave him out to dry.
I mean, they already do that. So I think if you wanted to leave, you could have been gone by now. One more thing I will say about the Habs. I think Gallagher could end up in LA. And the reason for that is not only is Dano there, his best buddy Bergevin is there. I think Bergevin is going to be whispering in the ears of Rob Blake saying, Gallagher. Whispering in that ear, slowly serenade him to the music. Bergevin's biceps flexing in the background, playing some nice romantic music, whispering over candlelit dinner.
Bergevin is actually massive, man. This guy's jacked.
Yo, Bergevin can still play. I don't care. He can still play. He could play just as well and efficiently as Ben Sherratt did in the playoffs or David Savard. I guarantee you.
He looks like a really good addition.
Bro, let Bergevin let him let loose in the playoffs, or if he punches around and lay a few bodies out. Like, I think Bergevin could be effective, man. I swear. That guy's huge.
I want the red suit that he has, man, that he wore in the playoffs. Oh my god, that was so nice.
He had the crazy scientist outfit going, eh? He had the crazy long hair and the red outfit. Like, I was all for it. Bergevin was amazing to watch in the playoffs. It was so funny. It was so funny. He was such a meme. I loved it. I loved it. Every second. We beat Toronto in 7. That was a meme right there. Sweep the Jets because they were just get out of my face. And then Vegas. I mean, they had the chance to win. Then Fleury turns it over. Anderson ties it up. We win in overtime. And then we win the next game. Beautiful. And then, I mean, obviously Tampa Bay's a wagon, so whatever.
Yeah.
Don't need to talk about
that.
Oh,
that's my favorite meme. When people are like, Marc-Andre Fleury is like the best of all time, but then like you have he has these like moments where he just loses. He just like has a gap.
Yeah, but he's won too many times for us to say anything about him, right?
Yeah.
Did you take my channel points away? What did you do? Why is there so little?
Is it because you voted for yourself last?
Yeah, but did you not give me the reward for winning?
Did I not give you the reward? There was no reward. It was just a poll.
What was it?
It was a poll. I'm not gonna give you channel points.
Oh my god!
You just wanted to stuff.
Here, let me just rub it in real quick and play something with my channel points. You ready? I'm playing the happy. Oh, that looks good. What a world to have channel points in.
Joke's on you because the stream is muted for me. Okay, I can't even hear it.
It doesn't have a sound. I don't put sounds on this one because of DMCA on other platforms. I don't want to risk it. So sound alerts are disabled. I'm sorry, Vinzuko. Sound alerts are disabled. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to make a banner saying that they're disabled, but they are disabled. I'm sorry. But if you want to put it on, like if you want to trade someone, for example, like this, you can definitely do that. So.
Refund me? No, I should be the one that's refunded.
I don't know how to refund channel points. If I could, I would. I just don't know how to do it.
You can. You can? I can. Yeah.
What do I do?
Mod me. You can mod me.
No.
No. I can show you after chat. I can show you. We will get.
Honestly,
those,
I will mod you.
Channel points back.
You.
Did I just force my way into being a mod?
No,
he
because
became my mod as well. He did the same thing.
I mean, I need some mods. I need some mods in the chat, or else I'm screwed.
No, that was a joke. I can show you how to do it later. We promise we can get you your points back. We promise.
Yeah, and mine too. I had like 3K
Debatable.
or something, man, and now I have 500. Like I don't know what happened. They're all just gone.
Yeah, that's what happens when you vote for yourself 17,000 times to beat me out in a competition that I should have won fair and square. That's what happens.
It's okay.
No, okay, I'll give you yours back after as soon as I figure it out. But I think we're done for today. Honestly, I think we covered all the topics we wanted to. We have a shorter podcast, but it is Sunday, so we're just hanging out, chat. Well, I do the quick outro. If you want to figure out someone we can raid, that would be awesome. So while I'm doing the outro, stick around. We'll find someone to raid. So Punch, if you want to do that, or if chat wants to do that, let me know. Just type in the chat. I'll get the outro underway. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Once again, I do want to mention that it is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. So using the link that I just provided in the chat, you can download the game on PC and create an account, get to level 15 or support the channel. Punchy was just anyway. Nightbot's not having a good time today. I thought I fixed that, but I'll fix that later.
That's okay. North is streaming right now. If you wanna,
sure, yeah. If you want to just, yeah, I'll rate him after. So anyway, check out Raid Shadow Legends if you want to support the channel. It'd mean a lot to me here, or it'd mean a lot to us. Also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, we love you. For those of you on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. I'll leave it at that. Follow us at SomeLazyGuy09 on Twitch, TuneIn Live, or follow us on those other platforms I list as the SNBP podcast to tune in. I'll see you guys in the next one. We appreciate your support. That's the end of the outro. That was shorter than last time. That was shorter than last time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'll get better at it as we go. Let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell if you're laughing at me or the chat.
No, it's just everything that was. I don't know why all of our podcasts end like this. Like some stupid thing happens at the end. Like a group saying he's gonna leak my address so you don't raid me. I'm not even live. He's just saying this. Podge got timed out. Oh man.
It's the way she goes sometimes.
The way she goes.